Hello folks, this is Singing Toad, and today's topic for this video is kind of a part 3, well not really quite a part 3, this is going to be more like a part 2.5 of a 3-part video that I'm making on this Joker Nomad. What my original intention was to do the third part of the review, where doing more field testing, where I'm actually out in the bush, in the wilderness, and getting up to doing some nice things out there. But unfortunately, I've just not been able to get out into the bush, and I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to do that. And very shortly, in a week or so, Christmas is here, and over Christmas holidays and whatnot, I'm not going to be doing any of those sort of things. So long story short, I don't know when I'm going to get out. It's going to be sometime in the new year when I get to that portion of the video and to kind of complete this series here that I'm doing, this 3-part series. So this is just going to be like the 2.5, if you will. And what I wanted to talk about in today's video is just a few little things that I've done with the knife in between. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to make mention of is the lanyard. Now, in the last video, I mentioned that I didn't really like the lanyard on this. I found that it snagged around the ferrocerium rod every time I drew the knife out. And so what I did is I tied a little snake knot lanyard here with this paracord that's got this reflective material in it, which makes it high visibility. So if I ever accidentally drop the knife, this would be reflective, and hopefully I'd be able to find it against the forest floor foliage. Also, I left it so that I can get 3 fingers in, so that if I'm holding the knife and I am chopping with the knife, I can still get 3 fingers in there, and the knife's not going to come flying out. And even if I was wearing gloves, I could still at least get 2 fingers in there and not worry about losing the knife if it happened to slip out of my hand. But it's not long enough that I can come down here and snag around the ferrocerium rod. Now, the second thing that I want to talk about was this sheath here, and I may mention it in the last video, and that is these button snaps. These button snaps are very, very weak. The retention on them is extremely weak, and I would say probably every other time I try to draw the knife out of the sheath, just the retention of the sheath here, which is just friction fit, would actually cause these button snaps to let go, and I'd be pulling the entire sheath up out of my belt, which is obviously not very good. I don't want to lose this thing in the wilderness or anywhere. It could lead to a very awkward situation if your knife accidentally comes falling out of your belt. So I thought about it for a while as to what I was going to do with these, and I did get some good suggestions in the comments from some of my subscribers and whatnot. But Aaron from Gideon's Tactical did a review of this knife not too long ago, and he made a good mention, and it was something I was already kind of thinking about, but just basically super gluing these shut. So I used a very, very strong industrial adhesive. Actually, let me go grab that. So this is the stuff here, and I don't know how well you can read this. It's industrial strength adhesive, and it's called E6000, and I got this from Michael's store, hobby and craft store. This stuff is good stuff. I've actually used this to bond rare earth magnets to things, and if you know anything about rare earth magnets, I mean, now they are little ones, they're not like the huge giant ones that can smash your fingers off, but they're very, very strong magnets, and this here was able to bond that to plastic and to metal. And I mean, you can bond almost anything with this stuff. It's a slow acting, like a super glue. So most super glues, when you bond it, if you touch instantly, within seconds, it's permanent. This has a much slower time, so it gives you more time to play around with. But this is a great adhesive, and this is what I used to bond these clips. And now, I mean, that is not coming undone. No matter how hard I'm pulling that, that's not coming undone. So I don't have to ever worry about that happening again. And worst case scenario, if it ever did fail, well, guess what? I've got more of this stuff. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, that's the other thing. Now, I'm not sure how well this camera is going to show it, but I don't know if you can see this line right here. This line is caused because a problem I found with the sheath, and I want to just quickly say, there's no fault of the knife here. The knife is a well-made knife, but this sheath's a bit of a letdown. Unlike my Joker Ember knife, which has a very well-designed sheath, and that knife just seems to fit beautifully in its sheath, this one not so much. Half the time when I'm putting the knife in the sheath, it doesn't quite go in with the right alignment, and the blade was actually coming across, and it actually it's within like a millimeter of coming right out of this. What that actually is from a cut. That's from the blade. That's from the blade coming in here a little crooked and slicing into the inside of the sheath. So I was trying to think of what I could do to fix that, and because I do like the sheath, but it's unfortunate that it just isn't form fitted very well to this knife, so that sometimes when you're putting the knife back in, it goes in crooked, and then the blade is going in, like so, and cutting in here. So how could I fix that? And I was thinking about it for a little while, and lo and behold, one of my older knives, in fact a knife I've had for a very, very long time, my Buck 119, already had a solution. And if I can just pull this guy out real quick. So obviously, you guys are familiar with the Buck 119, and if you're not, shame on you. I'm just kidding. But one of the things that's on the inside here, I don't know if I can grab this out. Oh, here we go. It came with this little plastic insert, and this knife has been in, like it's had this since day one, since I got it from the open the box. So it's had this little insert in there, and that just helps to protect, the very sharp knife blade when it goes into the sheath, from cutting out the side of the sheath. So I was thinking, why can't I do something like that with this sheath? And I don't know if you can see down in there, but I've made a little plastic insert. Oh yeah, you can see down in there. So let me just pull that out. I'm just going to use my Leatherman Charge TTI here. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so I just made this this little plastic insert. And this is actually from a water container. So it's about the same thickness as the one out of the Buck. And what I did is I made a template first. So let's just get this knife out of here before I wind up cutting myself here. But I just made a template out of paper. I just kind of guesstimated, where it was going to be. I just kind of traced along, and then I just, whoops, I'm bonking everything around here, folks. And I just kind of traced around, and then I transferred that to the plastic that was flat, and then just cut it out, and then I just bent it with my hands. And I want I don't want it to be super bent, because I want to conform to the inside of the sheath. Now, I don't know if you can see. You might be able to see it down there, way down there. Can you see that? That's actually where the blade down in here almost cut right through, right here. So anyway, I can just shove this back in now. All right. So you can see it's back in there now. So now, of course, when I insert the knife back in, there's no worry of it coming out through the side, just like the Buck knife here. So that was just a couple of things I wanted to quickly just go over. And I want to just say here, this is no fault of the knife. Knife here is well made. Everything about it is well made. I have no complaints about this Joker Nomad knife, and as of right now, I'm still going to give this knife a very strong pass as being a good value and a good knife to go out and purchase. Okay, the sheath, however, is a bit of a letdown. So if the knife was 10 out of 10, I would have to. Well, it's not 10 out of 10. There's no knife is 10 out of 10. But let's just say this knife is. What would I actually rate this out of 10? I would say this knife is a strong 7.5 out of 10. With this sheath in its configuration, when you get it out of the box, I would have to knock that down 1 full point because of the sheath just being not very well made as far as fitting the knife. Let me re-explain. It's a well-made sheath, but it's not made well to fit with the knife, if that makes any sense. Okay? But putting that little plastic insert in there, which costs 10 cents, Joker? Like, I mean, come on, you guys could do that, no problem. And just having better button snaps, I mean, that would just make things so much better. But again, I'm not saying don't buy this knife. I'm just saying the sheath is a little bit lacking, and it's nothing that you can't fix on your own, as I did. But you know, when I was thinking about, you know, this old Buck 119, you know, let's just get a glamour shot of him again. You know, this old Buck 119. I was thinking, you know, I've owned this knife for nearly 30 years now, and it's still teaching me lessons. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Thanks very much for watching. Singing Toad signing out.